What if one tiny habit could completely transform your health? Just 5 grams a day is all your body needs. Most people walk around inflamed, exhausted, and mentally foggy daily. They have no idea why their body feels so broken. They try every supplement on the shelf and feel nothing. They spend hundreds of dollars and still wake up tired. They feel stiff, soft, frustrated, and defeated every single morning. But what if the real answer has been hiding in plain sight? What if science already solved this problem over 30 years ago? What if thousands of human trials already confirmed every single claim? The answer is not some exotic herb from a rainforest. It is not an expensive biohacking device costing thousands of dollars. It is a compound your cells already know and desperately crave. 5 grams a day is all the research actually requires. And when you take it consistently, your entire biology begins shifting. Your inflammatory markers start dropping measurably within the very first weeks. Your stubborn fat becomes more metabolically active and starts burning faster. Your lean muscle begins growing back, even without changing your diet. Your brain starts firing faster with sharper focus and clarity. Your joints feel less stiff from the very first month. Your energy climbs higher and your mood begins improving naturally. And no, this is not a fat burner or stimulant. This is not a hormone or a dangerous experimental compound either. This is creatine monohydrate, backed by 30 years of human research. But not the cheap, low-quality version most people are unknowingly buying. Before we go deeper, I need to be completely honest here. The supplement industry is overflowing with broken promises and clever marketing. Most products on those shelves are what I call fairy dust. They put just enough ingredient on the label to look legitimate, but not nearly enough for your body to actually feel anything. That is exactly how billions are made selling hope in tubs. They deliver absolutely nothing meaningful inside your body and take your money. But creatine is fundamentally different from everything else on those shelves. It is not a trend that will disappear in 6 months. It is a biological necessity that every single cell in your body craves. Scientists have studied this compound consistently since the very early 90s. The human data is so consistent, it is almost impossible to ignore. When you take 5 grams daily, your inflammatory markers measurably drop. Specifically, CRP, TNF-alpha, and IL-6 all begin declining with consistency. Your visceral fat, the dangerous fat around your organs, becomes active. Your body begins using that stored organ fat as actual fuel. Lean muscle increases even without any change in your protein intake. Creatine works even when your diet stays exactly the same throughout. Strength goes up, and your mitochondria become dramatically more efficient daily. Brain fog lifts, and mental fatigue decreases within the first weeks. People consistently report feeling more present, focused, and alive than before. Now let me explain exactly why this works inside your body, because once you understand the mechanism, you will never want to stop. Inside every cell in your body are tiny structures called mitochondria. Their entire job is to produce energy so your body functions. They produce that energy in the form of something called ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, but you do not need that. All you need to know is that ATP is your energy currency. Your body spends it every time your heart beats or thinks. Creatine stores phosphate inside your cells and regenerates ATP almost instantly. It gives your cells a powerful backup battery during every high-demand moment. Think of creatine as the generator when your main power fails completely. It kicks in immediately and keeps everything running without missing a beat.
But here is the part that almost nobody is actually talking about. Creatine does not just produce energy inside your cells every day. It actively protects your mitochondria from the oxidative damage of daily living. When a cell becomes energy deficient, something alarming happens inside your body. It enters a state of cellular panic and generates inflammatory pathways immediately. Those inflammatory pathways are why your joints ache every single morning. They are why your belly fat accumulates no matter what you try. They are why your mood drops and your recovery slows down dramatically. But when a cell is energy abundant, inflammation naturally and consistently drops. The cell is no longer operating from a place of survival stress. Creatine literally keeps your cells out of that stressed, inflamed state daily. That is exactly why inflammation drops so consistently when creatine levels rise. The International Society of Sports Nutrition has made a remarkable statement publicly. They called creatine the most effective and safest compound in human existence. That is not marketing hype written by someone trying to sell something. That is the conclusion from decades of peer-reviewed, independent human trials worldwide. Now let us talk about fat loss, because this confuses so many people. Creatine is not a fat burner in the traditional stimulant sense at all. It will not directly melt fat the way a thermogenic compound might try. But what it does is genuinely far more powerful and sustainable long-term. It transforms your entire body into a natural, efficient fat-burning machine. It does this by fixing the underlying problems that are blocking fat loss. Here is the first mechanism, and it starts with building more muscle. The more lean muscle you carry, the more insulin-sensitive your cells become. The more insulin-sensitive you are, the higher your resting metabolic rate rises, meaning you literally burn more calories just sitting on your couch resting. Muscle tissue is the most metabolically active tissue in the entire human body, and creatine is one of the most powerful tools to build it faster. Human studies show creatine combined with resistance training increases lean mass significantly. It improves strength, training volume, recovery speed, and raises metabolic rate consistently. Meta-analyses confirm reductions in body fat percentage in people over 50 years old. Here is the second mechanism, and it involves your training output directly. Creatine increases your phosphocreatine stores so dramatically you can push harder always. You lift heavier and recover faster between every single set you perform. When you train harder, you burn more calories both during and after. That compounding effect over weeks and months is absolutely extraordinary for your physique. Here is the third mechanism, and it is the most underappreciated one entirely. Creatine lowers chronic inflammation, and chronic inflammation is the real hidden problem. Chronic inflammation is the real reason stubborn fat refuses to leave your body. You do not actually have a weight problem if you think about it. You have a weight symptom caused by something much deeper and more fundamental. The actual root problem is systemic inflammation silently running in your biology daily. Chronic inflammation blocks fat burning at the cellular level every single day. It blocks mitochondrial flexibility and destroys insulin sensitivity throughout your entire system. It literally traps fat inside your body no matter what diet you follow. Studies show creatine reduces inflammatory cytokines and improves glucose handling measurably over time. It creates the perfect hormonal and cellular environment for stubborn fat loss to begin. Creatine does not melt fat directly, and it never claims to do so. What it does is remove every biological barrier that was blocking your body. And here is something most fitness influencers and even most doctors completely miss. The majority of people struggling with excess fat are not actually overfed at all. They are under-muscled, and that distinction changes absolutely everything about the solution needed. The problem is not that they eat too much food every day. The problem is they carry too little muscle to keep metabolism functioning properly. Creatine fixes that fundamental problem at the cellular level where it actually matters. That is why people who start taking it notice such fast, dramatic changes.
Human research shows creatine produces greater increases in lean mass than placebo consistently. It produces higher strength levels and greater muscle fiber size in clinical settings. It increases satellite cell activity, which is your body's dedicated muscle repair crew. Creatine increases their activity, so your body rebuilds muscle better after every workout. Creatine also improves protein synthesis signaling in a very important and practical way. The protein you're already eating becomes more effective at building new muscle. There's a reason every elite athlete and smart performer uses creatine daily. And here is something that will particularly matter if you are over 40. Older adults actually receive an even bigger biological benefit from creatine than younger people. One landmark study found a 1.4 kilogram increase in lean mass in older adults, significantly better strength scores, and lower body fat with zero changes in diet. Creatine primes the muscle-building machinery so effectively that gains happen regardless of age. If you are over 40 and feel like you are slowly losing muscle everywhere, please hear this clearly because it matters more than almost anything else said here. That is not just normal aging happening passively to your body over time. That is what happens specifically when your creatine levels drop with advancing age. Supplementing daily is one of the most powerful and overlooked interventions available to you. Now let's talk about your brain, because this surprises almost everyone who hears it. Most people think creatine only works inside the muscles and nowhere else entirely. But your brain is actually one of the most creatine-hungry organs you have. And most people are running chronically low on brain creatine every single day. Your brain stores creatine just like your muscles do and burns through it fast. It burns through those reserves during stress, deep focus, poor sleep, and inflammation. When your brain runs low on creatine, you feel it almost immediately and clearly. Brain fog, slow thinking, forgetfulness, mood dips, and crushing mental fatigue appear fast. That heavy mental exhaustion that makes everything feel 10 times harder than it should. Human trials have shown creatine meaningfully improves memory and attention span in people. It improves reaction time, mood stability, cognitive fatigue resistance, and mental processing speed. It even improves mental performance after sleep deprivation and international jet lag exposure. Creatine increases brain phosphocreatine levels, which directly protects neurons from dangerous energy deficits. Those energy deficits are what lead to cognitive decline and neurodegeneration over time. This is exactly why researchers now study creatine for depression and concussion recovery protocols. They're studying it for traumatic brain injury rehabilitation and neurological disease prevention globally, including Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease, which affect millions of people worldwide today. If your brain does not feel like it is firing properly right now, listen. If you feel foggy, slow, or emotionally flat throughout your days without explanation, creatine is honestly the cheapest and most effective mitochondrial brain upgrade available to you.
Beyond the brain, people with chronic inflammatory conditions like arthritis report remarkable improvements too. Better strength, less daily pain, and significantly improved mobility after consistent creatine supplementation begins. Creatine is an anti-inflammatory molecule working indirectly through mitochondrial protection every single day. When you take it consistently and take the right type, you will genuinely feel it. You will feel it in your joints, your lower back, your morning stiffness, everywhere. You will feel it in your energy levels and your workout recovery improving weekly. Now here is the conversation most supplement companies desperately do not want you having. What I am about to share explains why so many people try creatine and feel nothing. 90% of creatine on the market today is genuinely low quality without exception. That is not an opinion or exaggeration based on personal bias or preference here. That is a conclusion drawn from actual laboratory testing and independent research analysis conducted properly. Most creatine sold today is manufactured in facilities with dangerously low purity standards consistently. It comes primarily from facilities in China and can contain heavy metals and contaminants. Contaminants you would absolutely never knowingly put into your body if you knew they existed. Cheap creatine is produced through low-cost chemical reactions that cut every possible corner on purification. That is why so many people experience digestive discomfort and bloating when they try it. This cheap creatine is also poorly micronized, meaning the particles are far too large to absorb. So instead of reaching your muscle cells, they sit in your gut, causing inflammation and discomfort. When someone tells me they tried creatine and felt nothing or got sick, I understand completely. I tell them the same thing every single time with complete confidence and certainty always. It was not the creatine that failed you, and your experience was completely valid. It was a low-quality, impure, poorly manufactured product that failed you without your knowledge. And those two things are absolutely not the same thing in any meaningful way whatsoever. The gold standard in creatine research is a material specifically called Creapure from Germany. It is manufactured under pharmaceutical-level quality control standards that most companies never meet. It is tested batch by batch for purity, safety, and absolute consistency every single time. It carries 99.99% purity with zero fillers, zero contaminants, and zero heavy metals inside. It has the finest micronization available anywhere in the world for maximum cellular absorption, always. This means almost zero gastrointestinal issues are reported by users who switch to it immediately. This is the material used in the actual human studies referenced throughout everything shared today. It is the only creatine I would ever personally recommend to anyone I care about. When choosing creatine, look specifically for products that use verified Creapure material from Germany. Look for products that are further micronized for even better and faster cellular absorption rates. And look for third-party testing documentation you can actually verify and fully trust. The dosing protocol is beautifully simple, and the research behind it is abundantly clear today. 5 grams per day is the research-backed dose for the vast majority of adults consistently. No loading phase is required, despite what many supplement companies still incorrectly tell their customers. No cycling on and off is necessary under any circumstances or for any reason whatsoever. Just 5 grams every single day, taken consistently, and the results compound beautifully over time. I personally mix mine into my morning coffee and it dissolves completely without any flavor. It adds absolutely no taste whatsoever and sets my brain up from the very first sip.
If you do not drink coffee, simply mix it into water or an electrolyte drink instead. Mix it into a smoothie or into anything you drink regularly every single morning consistently, so it becomes a completely seamless daily habit that requires zero extra effort from you. Creatine does not break a fast, and that matters for many people following fasting protocols. It has no calories, no insulin response, and no interference with fat-burning processes whatsoever. You can take it even during extended morning fasting protocols without any concern or hesitation. When I am traveling internationally and dealing with jet lag, I increase my dose temporarily. Research shows 10 to 15 grams before boarding a long flight reduces cognitive impairment significantly. It reduces the fatigue and physical disruption caused by crossing multiple time zones very rapidly. Creatine monohydrate is safe for long-term daily use in all healthy adults without exception. It is safe for kidney function when kidneys are healthy and functioning normally without disease. It is safe for older adults, safe for women, and safe for all athletic populations. If you have a pre-existing kidney condition, always consult your physician before starting supplementation. But for healthy individuals, the 30-year safety record on creatine is genuinely unmatched by anything. 5 grams per day compounds over time in ways that are difficult to fully appreciate immediately. People commonly report feeling changes within the very first 7 days of consistent daily use. Noticeably more significant shifts in strength and energy appear clearly by the 30-day mark consistently. Mental clarity improvements and inflammation reductions become very obvious by the end of month 1. What happens if you miss a day of creatine and forget to take it? Absolutely nothing serious happens, and your creatine stores do not crash overnight from one miss. Just pick it up the very next morning and continue going without any guilt whatsoever. The key is not perfection, and nobody achieves perfect consistency with any supplement ever anyway. The key is consistency over weeks and months, because creatine is a long-game supplement always. It rewards daily commitment with compounding biological benefits that keep building stronger over time continuously. Can you take creatine on an empty stomach first thing in the morning without food? Yes, absolutely, if it is a high-quality, properly micronized product from a verified, clean source. Most people report zero stomach discomfort, even when taken first thing without any food present. Can you stack creatine with magnesium, electrolytes, or protein powder safely without any concern? Absolutely yes, and creatine plays beautifully well with virtually every other supplement you already take. It fits seamlessly into any dietary philosophy, including keto, carnivore, vegan, and paleo approaches equally. Does creatine work differently depending on whether you eat low-carb or high-carb daily? No, it absolutely does not, and the cellular benefits remain identical regardless of your dietary approach. Whether you are low-carb, high-carb, intermittent fasting, or eating 6 meals daily, it works. Can you take creatine at night if you forget your morning dose without any sleep disruption? Yes, research does not show creatine disrupting sleep quality in any meaningful or measurable way. If you forget your morning dose, simply take it whenever you remember and move forward confidently. The bottom line is something I want you to carry with you from this moment forward. Creatine monohydrate is the single most researched and validated daily supplement that exists for humans. It lowers inflammation at the cellular level, where inflammation actually begins and does its damage. It builds and protects lean muscle, even in older adults with declining natural creatine production.
It accelerates fat loss by fixing the root biological causes that were blocking your body completely. It upgrades your brain in ways that most people never expect or even think to anticipate. 5 grams, 1 scoop, every single day from a high-quality, verified, and pure source consistently. Your biology will thank you in ways you will genuinely and undeniably feel within 2 weeks. This is not a trend that will fade when the next shiny supplement arrives on shelves. This is not marketing hype designed to separate you from your hard-earned money and trust. This is 30 years of independent human research, all pointing clearly in one single direction together. That direction is straight toward daily creatine monohydrate supplementation without any hesitation or lingering doubt. Start today with 5 grams and stay completely consistent through the inevitable days when life gets hard. Come back in 30 days and tell me exactly how different your energy feels now. Tell me how your body feels, how your joints move, and how your mind thinks. Because 30 days from now, you will not recognize the version of yourself looking back at you.